She just wanted a quiet flight home, pregnant, exhausted, and hoping for peace. But the woman behind her had other plans. Snide whispers turned into cruel laughter, and then, a sharp kick to her seat. Passengers watched, pretending not to notice, as the tension grew. The racist girl thought she was picking on someone powerless, a silent, harmless target she could humiliate for sport. But what she didn't know was chilling. Because when that plane landed, the truth waiting on the runway would flip her world upside down. So who was this quiet woman really? For Maya Johnson, flying was supposed to be routine. She'd done it dozens of times before, an early morning flight from Atlanta to Los Angeles for a short visit to her sister. 7 months pregnant, she moved slower these days, carrying not just the weight of her baby, but the quiet strength of a woman used to staying calm under pressure. To most people, Maya seemed like any other expectant mother, tired but graceful, polite but reserved. She boarded the plane early, found her aisle seat, and smiled at the flight attendant who offered her water. Her plan was simple: rest, read, and maybe doze off before landing. But beneath that calm surface, Maya carried something else, something no one on that flight could have guessed. Behind her gentle eyes and soft voice was a career built on discipline, courage, and justice. She'd served years in the bureau, working cases that tested her patience and her faith in humanity. Yet, she never talked about it. Not because she was ashamed, but because she believed in humility, in letting actions speak louder than words. As passengers filled the cabin, a young woman slid into the seat behind her. Loud, careless, and clearly annoyed, she complained about everything, from the temperature to the people around her. Maya tried to ignore it, focusing on the quiet hum of the engines and the rhythmic tap of rain on the windows. But soon, a sharp kick hit the back of her seat. Once. Then again. Followed by a mocking laugh. Maya turned slightly, her eyes meeting the girl's smirk. Something inside her shifted, an uneasy awareness that this flight might not stay peaceful for long. She took a deep breath, tightening her seatbelt. Because sometimes, silence isn't weakness. It's warning. The first kick, Maya could ignore. Maybe it was an accident. Maybe turbulence. But then came another, harder, sharper, followed by a hissed whisper. Can't you sit up straight? Some of us paid for comfort. Maya turned her head slightly, her calm eyes meeting the young woman's glare. The girl couldn't have been more than 22, blonde hair, expensive sunglasses pushed up on her head, and a smirk that reeked of entitlement. Behind her, 2 friends stifled laughter, filming quietly on their phones. Maya exhaled softly. She'd seen that look before, the kind that judged first and asked questions never. She pressed the flight attendant button, but before anyone arrived, the girl leaned forward again. You people always think rules don't apply to you, huh, she whispered, voice dripping with venom. A few passengers shifted uneasily, pretending not to hear. Others watched in silence, their eyes darting away the moment Maya glanced their way. That silence, louder than words, cut deeper than the insult itself. The attendant finally arrived, offering a polite smile. Is everything okay here? Before Maya could respond, the girl jumped in. Yeah, maybe if she would stop reclining her seat into my lap, we wouldn't have a problem. The attendant hesitated, unsure who to believe. Maya simply nodded and adjusted her seat upright, swallowing the humiliation. It wasn't the first time she'd been misunderstood. Probably wouldn't be the last. But the kicks didn't stop. Neither did the comments. As the plane climbed through clouds, the whispers grew louder, crueler, mocking her hair, her skin, even her swollen belly. Who even lets people like her fly first class? One voice sneered. Her hands tightened on the armrest. Years of FBI fieldwork had taught her patience, but patience didn't make her human heart immune to pain. Each word burned like acid, testing every ounce of her restraint. She could have stood up. She could have flashed her badge, silenced the plane, and ended it all in seconds. But she didn't. Because she wanted something more powerful than revenge, truth. The passenger's silence wasn't just fear. It was complicity. And she wanted every single one of them to see what silence protects. Minutes crawled by. Then the girl did something that made every passenger freeze. She dumped a small cup of juice down the crack between the seats, soaking Maya's dress. "Oh no," she said, feigning innocence. "Guess some people just attract messes." Maya stood up, her composure still intact but her eyes now sharper, colder. The flight attendant rushed over again, voice trembling. "Ma'am, please, we can move you to another seat." "No need," Maya interrupted softly. "I'm comfortable right here." Her tone, measured, professional, unshakable, caught the girl off guard. For the first time, the laughter stopped. The phones lowered. Something about the way Maya stood, tall, centered, unafraid, made the air in the cabin feel heavy. Then, Maya quietly reached into her bag. Every eye followed. Was she about to lose her temper? No one breathed. Not even the girl. But what Maya pulled out wasn't anger. It was evidence. Her badge, gleaming under the cabin light, Federal Bureau of Investigation. Gasps filled the air. The girl's smirk evaporated. And for the first time since takeoff, silence wasn't cruel. It was justice waiting to land. The air inside the cabin felt frozen. The laughter, the whispers, all gone. Every passenger sat still, caught between disbelief and guilt as Maya held up her badge. "Ma'am, the flight attendant stammered, eyes wide. Maya nodded, her voice calm but firm. "Yes. I'm with the Bureau." She turned slightly toward the girl behind her, who now sat pale and trembling, her earlier confidence shattered. The phone she'd been recording with slipped from her hand, clattering onto the floor. "I'd like that footage kept," Maya said quietly. Every word. Every action. The pilot's voice broke through the intercom. "Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated. We'll be landing shortly. Law enforcement will be boarding upon arrival." Those words hit harder than turbulence. The girl's friends exchanged panicked looks. The same people who'd laughed moments ago now avoided her entirely, sinking into their seats, pretending they weren't part of it. But Maya didn't gloat. She didn't raise her voice. She simply sat down, wiped the juice from her hands, and stared out the window at the clouds breaking beneath them. She'd faced criminals more dangerous than this girl, but somehow, this moment cut deeper. Because this wasn't just one cruel act. It was a reflection of something much larger, something she'd fought against her entire career. The quiet, everyday racism that hides behind smiles and smartphones. As the wheels touched down, flashing lights danced outside the window. Police cars waited beside the terminal. The girl's breathing quickened, her voice trembled as she whispered, "Please, I didn't mean it like that." But Maya didn't respond. Justice didn't need words. It needed witnesses. When the doors opened, 2 officers stepped in. They walked straight to the back, calm but deliberate. "Ma'am, we need to speak with you." The girl's face went white as she was escorted off the plane, the world's eyes now turned where they belonged. Maya exhaled, feeling the weight of silence shift. This time, it wasn't the silence of complicity, it was the silence of realization. And for the first time all flight, everyone finally saw. When Maya finally stepped off the plane, the air outside felt different, cooler, lighter, freer. She didn't look back. She didn't need to. The lesson had already been written in silence, carved into the faces of every passenger who watched injustice unfold and did nothing until it was too late. As the officers led the young woman away, Maya paused near the terminal window. Below, flashing blue lights reflected off the airplane's metal skin, cold, sterile, and unforgiving. In that reflection, she saw more than one face. She saw the faces of thousands who had endured the same quiet cruelty, unseen, unheard, and unprotected. For Maya, it wasn't about punishment. It was about truth. About reminding the world that racism doesn't always shout, it often whispers. It hides in laughter, in casual cruelty, in the comfort of those who think it's not their problem. When news of the incident surfaced later, the footage went viral. Comment sections filled with outrage, empathy, denial, and reflection. Strangers debated what really happened, while others shared their own experiences of being judged, dismissed, or dehumanized simply because of their color. Maya stayed silent. Not because she didn't care, but because she believed the lesson had already been taught. Her silence wasn't weakness. It was power. That flight became more than a journey between two cities, it became a mirror. A mirror forcing people to ask themselves the uncomfortable question, would I have spoken up? Or would I have stayed silent, too? Because racism doesn't just live in the hearts of the hateful, it survives in the silence of the comfortable. And maybe that's what the world needs to hear, not just the cries of the oppressed, but the silence of those who could have stopped it. So the next time you see injustice, ask yourself, will you look away, or will you stand up? Because respect isn't something we're born knowing. It's something we choose to live by.
And that's a wrap for today's video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really hope you found it helpful, or at least a little entertaining. Your support truly means the world, and is the reason I get to keep making content like this. If you enjoyed this video, would you do me a huge favor and hit that thumbs up button? It really helps the channel grow. And if you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. I've got a lot more exciting stuff planned that I can't wait to share with you. Feel free to leave a comment down below to let me know what you thought or what you'd like to see next. I read every single one. Thanks again for watching, stay awesome, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.